Welcome to the Early Childhood Business Made Easy podcast. Hello, CEOs. It's Kelly Peak. I'm so excited. As you know, I love to help you find that time freedom lifestyle you so deserve by controlling that chaos, clearing that overwhelm, and finding more of that profit. Now, my friend, I want you to imagine it's Sunday night and you're already dreading Monday morning, not because of the kiddos. You love the kids, but because you know the second you walk through that door, someone's going to hand you their 2 weeks' notice again. Or you'll walk into another conflict between team members who can't seem to get on the same page. Or worse, you're going to spend your entire day putting out fires instead of actually leading your business because your team, well, they can't make decisions without you. If that scenario feels uncomfortably accurate, take a deep breath. You're not alone in this. Every overwhelmed early childhood business owner and operator that I work with has stood exactly where you are right now, watching their best people walk out the door, maybe every 6 months or so, wondering if they'll ever break the cycle of constant hiring, training, and that unfortunate turnover. And here's what nobody tells you about this struggle. You're not losing your team members because you're bad at hiring. You're losing them because traditional team retention advice, it's not designed for businesses that look nothing like yours. Most business coaches, business books, they'll tell you to raise salaries, offer better benefits packages, create fun perks. But here's what I've learned in the over 25 years of operating and managing preschools, childcare centers, play cafes, and enrichment programs. Those strategies, well, they might work for tech companies with massive budgets or dentist offices or other businesses, but they backfire in ratio dependent, license heavy, health and safety heavy dependent businesses like ours, where we work with kiddos, where your margins are already razor thin and you literally cannot compete with public schools on compensation alone. The early childhood businesses with the lowest turnover aren't the ones paying the most. They're the ones where team members can answer one simple question: what does good look like here? But here's where hope walks in. Team culture isn't a mystery you solve with bigger paychecks or pizza parties. It's a system you engineer with clear expectations, strategic empowerment, and behavior-based values that your team can actually follow. When you professionalize your team culture using the framework designed specifically for early childhood businesses, you stop the hiring hamster wheel and start building a team that stays, grows, and drives your business forward. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about today. The 3 strategies that are going to turn your team from your biggest source of chaos into your most powerful revenue generating engine. Number 1, how to turn your team into a revenue generating engine by mapping out what only you can do as the CEO versus what your team can do with the right training and systems. Number 2, how to build your team culture roadmap with behavior-based values, weekly rhythms, and daily rituals that make your team feel valued without breaking your budget. And number 3, the first 5 days and 90-day retention checkpoints that determine whether someone stays long-term or quietly job hunts while they're still on your payroll. So if you're ready to reduce that turnover, reclaim your time, and finally build the team culture that makes your business operate smoothly, whether you're in the building or not, then my friend, you are in the right place. Team culture isn't something you hope for. It's something you engineer. The moment you build behavior-based systems your people can actually follow, well, that turnover is going to drop. The leadership is going to emerge and your business is going to stabilize without requiring your constant presence. This is what separates overwhelmed managers and directors from confident early childhood operators who've professionalized their team culture. Now, you're not losing team members because you've hired the wrong people. You're losing them because your culture is running on invisible rules they can't follow. Most business coaches will tell you it's a hiring problem. Screen better, interview smarter, offer more competitive packages. But here's what I've learned from working with thousands of early childhood business owners and operators. The businesses with the most drama aren't the ones with difficult people. They're the ones with unclear expectations. And when your team doesn't know what good looks like on a Tuesday at 3 p.m., they can't perform, no matter how talented or passionate they are. Here's an eye-opening fact about team retention. Childcare Aware of America, well, they report that the early childhood industry loses an estimated 30 to 40% of its workforce every single year, one of the highest turnover rates of any service-based profession. And I know you already know this, but according to a study from the Center for childcare employment, or CSCCE, 60% of educators who leave the field say they did so because of workplace climate and culture, not pay. Now, this research isn't measuring team culture systems directly, but here's why it matters even more for early childhood businesses. When your ratios are fixed, when you have strategic licensing requirements, when you have health and safety requirements, and your revenue depends on stability, every resignation, it doesn't just disrupt your day, it destabilizes your entire operation. Confident early childhood operators who understand this data make very different decisions about how they build culture. They don't just throw money at the problem. They engineer systems that make people want to stay. A play cafe owner that we've worked with was exhausted from constant turnover and team drama. She was stepping in to fix every conflict, rewriting the schedule twice a week, and feeling like the entire business depended on her being physically in the building to keep things operating. She was operating in pure manager mode, juggling emotions and emergencies instead of leading her team. But everything shifted when she stopped trying to hire her way out of the problem and started redesigning her culture from the inside out. She implemented a simple team culture roadmap and introduced clear core values to her team, ones that they could actually follow. And most importantly, she stepped into the mindset of a CEO who empowers leadership in her team instead of absorbing every issue and task herself. The breakthrough came when she realized the limiting belief that no one will ever care as much as I do. That's what she was saying to herself. And she realized that wasn't true. She just hadn't given her team the structure or the clarity to rise. We call this the leadership lift in our Shine mentorship program. Within 90 days, she reduced team conflict by 70%. She cut her on the floor, her time where she physically had to be there, the intervention time, from 18 hours a week to just 4. And she saw her weekend leads stay for the first full season without burnout. Her party revenue, well, that increased by 22%, $22,000 that quarter because her team finally operated with consistency and she made to her own family's events. And that was key for her. Today, she leads her Play Cafe as a confident early childhood CEO, calm, clear, and supported by a team that knows exactly how to carry the culture forward without her constant presence. So let's talk about how she did it, starting with the first strategy that changed everything. And that's strategy number 1, turn your team into a revenue generating engine. When you're operating in reactive mode, your team feels like your biggest expense and your biggest source of chaos. You're constantly putting out fires, mediating conflicts, and stepping into work that shouldn't require your involvement. But CEOs who professionalize their team structure, well, they approach this completely differently. They see their team as a revenue generating engine that requires strategic roles, clear ownership, and empowered decision making. This falls under our profit booster number 2, empower your team. And it's designed specifically for the unique dynamics of early childhood businesses, where you can't just hire more people to solve problems because your ratios, well, those are fixed and your payroll is already your largest expense. Here's what makes this different from traditional business advice. Most business coaches and business books will tell you to create an org chart and delegate more. And we do believe in delegation. But in early childhood businesses, that advice will backfire because it doesn't account for the reality that your highest paid team members, your leads or party coordinators, they're also your most ratio dependent. You can't just pull them off and pull them out of the situation and handle administrative tasks. So instead of generic delegation, you need a strategic framework that identifies what only you can do as a CEO and what specific team members can do and what your team can do on their own with the right training and systems. So action step number 1, I want you to map out your CEO tasks, the things that only you can do compared to what your team can own. This is a list. Use our time freedom matrix. We have that on our website. In one of our past episodes, be sure to go check that out and download that free resource. It takes about 45 minutes with pen and paper. Divide your page into the columns that you need to do. Find what you're doing right now. What are you currently doing? What are the tasks you can take off your plate? And then go through each item and ask yourself, can this be done by someone else? Or can it be automated? Or can it be eliminated? Do you generally need your CEO level judgment for this task? Now, be honest here. Most of us hold on to tasks because we think we're the only ones that can do them right, but that's usually a training gap, not a talent gap. Now, if you don't have any assistants or you don't have team members that you think you can delegate to, maybe you identify the daily tasks that you can hire out, like to a virtual assistant. Check out Upwork. It's a great place to find, a great resource to find people who might be able to help you with things that you don't need to be doing. Now, if it's things like restocking supplies or resetting activity areas, things that your team can do, well, that's something you really want to think about. Can you hand that off with just a simple checklist? If you are operating a very large program, you might realize that enrollment follow-up calls, parent communication responses, or even weekly scheduling adjustments, maybe someone on your team can handle that. The key is being honest about what truly needs your CEO brain versus freeing up what needs just to be a reliable system. Also remember, we call this in Shine your leadership lift. You have team members on your team who are ready and waiting for an opportunity to grow. We call that a leadership lift. Again, give them a lift into a new leadership opportunity. It doesn't mean, for example, if you're a preschool and you have a teacher that you want to give a leadership lift opportunity to, that you're going to take them completely out of the classroom. No, but maybe in the afternoon during nap time, you move an assistant into that role and you allow that team member to come out and do some leadership opportunities. Now, if you find yourself saying it's just faster and easier if I do it myself, that's your red flag. Every time you do something just this once because it's faster, you're training your team that you'll always swoop in and you're stealing their opportunity to grow into leaders. Remember that. And people will stay with you when they feel like they can grow with you. Action step number 2, I want you to create your revenue generating roles framework. Just set aside 30 minutes to redefine your key roles based on impact, not just tasks. So instead of thinking, I need a lead teacher, think I need someone who owns classroom culture and parent communication. Instead of, I need a party coordinator, think I need someone who owns the party experience from inquiry to event follow-up. When you define rules by ownership and outcomes rather than tasks, you empower your team to make decisions without running everything by yourself. For a small building, this might mean one of your lead assistants become an operations lead who owns maybe some daily systems, supply management, opening and closing procedures. If you're a larger program, you might have a family experience lead who owns all the parent communication. Again, it could be a teacher that comes out for a few hours, or it could be someone that you just bring on for 5 hours a week. Maybe they're your culture lead who owns team onboarding or retention touch points. The scale changes, but the principle stays the same. Clear ownership creates accountability and frees you to lead strategically. Now, don't create roles without also creating the systems that support those roles. If you hand someone ownership and enrollment follow-up, but don't give them a script, a tracking system, clear success metrics, you're just going to create frustration for both of you. Once you've mapped out what only you can do and redesign your roles for ownership for your team, you've created the foundation for a team that generates revenue instead of just consuming your time. Now, let's talk about how to make sure the right people want to stay in those roles. And this is strategy number 2, where you're going to build your team culture roadmap. When you're stuck in manager mode, you treat culture like something that just happens. You hire good people and you hope they figure out how things work here. But here's the problem. Hope isn't a strategy, and good people, even they, can't thrive in a system where expectations are invisible. Confident early childhood operators know that team culture is built through strategic clarity, clear values, consistent rituals, and daily reinforcement of what good looks like. This is all part of Profit Booster 2. Still, you're empowering your team. And unlike generic corporate culture advice that focuses on mission statements and vision boards, this framework is designed for the fast-paced, high-emotion environment of an early childhood business where culture shows up and how your team handles a meltdown at pickup time or responds when a parent has a concern. Now, most, again, generic business advice will tell you to define your values and post them on a wall. But in an early childhood business, this is not going to be enough. You should do that, but you have to do more. Your team is making split-second decisions all day long in situations where there's no time to check the handbook or ask for permission. They need behavior-based values they can actually follow. Values that tell them exactly how to act when a child is crying, a parent is frustrated, or a teammate needs backup. So action step number 1, I want you to define your 3 to 5 behavior-based core values. So plan for about 30 to 45 minutes. This is your CEO focus time, remember. Write down 3 to 5 values your business actually operates by. Not aspirational values you wish you had, but the behaviors you want every single day. These are things you want to see. Then, this is a crucial part, define what each value looks like in action, whether it's in a classroom, a cafe, a studio. For example, instead of excellence, we might say, we protect calm, and then define it. When a child is upset, we get on their level, we use quiet voices, and we create space for them to regulate. When a parent is frustrated, we listen first and problem solve second. Whether you have 2 team members or you have 20, the process is the same. Identify the behaviors you want to see and then name them clearly. Now, a smaller team, you might discuss these together in a quick 15-minute meeting, maybe during nap time or gather for coffee. If you are a larger program, you might have your leadership define these first, then involve your team in refining the examples so everyone feels ownership. Now, if your team can't tell you what a value looks like on a Tuesday, again at 3 p.m., when a parent is upset, 2 kiddos are crying, well, it's not clear enough yet. Values have to be behavioral, not conceptual. So test each value by asking, could a brand new team member follow this without asking me for clarification? And when they can, you know you've got a winner. Now, action step number 2, we're going to create one weekly rhythm and daily ritual. So again, I want you to set aside some time to decide on one weekly touch point where you reinforce your values. You could do a weekly huddle. You could do a monthly huddle. You could do a daily ritual like a pre-shift reset or maybe a sticky note at the end of the day. The key here is consistency, not complexity. Culture doesn't shift with big annual events or retreats. It shifts with small, repeatable moments that happen every single day. So again, you could have a board where your team puts a sticky note on, something that reflects what they did or maybe they need help with or support, whatever that might be. Your weekly rhythm might be, again, that 10-minute stand-up during nap time where you celebrate one person's lived core value that week. If you're a larger program, maybe it's a 20-minute meeting, one Monday a month, whatever that might be, so that they can share some things that happen. The daily ritual, maybe this is less than 5 minutes, regardless of your team size. It becomes a habit, not a meeting. Again, where you put a sticky note on a board, whether it's targeting a value, a support, a win, whatever that might be, create a ritual. Some sort of quick appreciation, a shout out. Pick one thing, find something to do. Either do it every day, every week, or every month. Now, most early childhood operators try to overhaul culture with big events, team building days, offsite retreats, catered lunches. Those are great. And if you can do those, wonderful, but they don't create lasting change. Culture is built in those tiny, unglamorous moments when no one's watching. That sticky note can often mean more than that lunch any day. Your daily ritual matters because it really does drive success for your team. And at times it can be a bigger impact than an annual party. Now, once you've identified your values, you've built in your weekly rhythm, you've created the roadmap that your team can follow, let's talk about how to make sure they actually stay long enough to see that transformation. And that's where strategy number 3 comes in, the first 5 days that determine if someone stays or leaves. When you're operating without a retention strategy, you treat onboarding like a checklist. You show them where the supplies are, you hand them a handbook, you throw them into the classroom, and you hope they figure it out. But here's what research shows. Most people decide whether they're staying long-term or just surviving until something better comes along within their first 30 days. And the most critical window is actually the first 5 days. And CEOs know that retention doesn't start when someone's been with you for 6 months. It starts the moment they say yes to your job offer. This strategy is about creating an onboarding experience that makes A+ talent feel seen, supported, and set up for success from day one. So unlike traditional onboarding advice that focuses on paperwork and compliance training, this framework is designed for the unique emotional and relational dynamics of early childhood businesses. Your new hires aren't just joining a corporate office where they'll sit at a desk and learn software. They are walking into a high energy, high emotion environment where they'll be expected to build relationships with children, parents, and teammates immediately. If they feel lost, unclear, or unsupported in those first few days, they're going to start looking for the exit, even if they don't tell you. So action step here, I want you to build your first 5-day experience. This again takes a little bit of time and planning, but it's going to save you months of turnover pain. Map out exactly what's going to happen when a new team member comes for their first 5 days. Not just what training they complete, but how they're going to feel at the end of each day. Day 1 should focus on connection and clarity. Introduce them to the team, show them where everything is, give them a small win. Maybe they lead a circle time with support if they need it, or they're assigned a buddy who checks in on them at the end of the day. They should know and feel good about that day. Day 2 should focus on competence. Let them observe a strong teammate in action and then debrief what they noticed. Day 3 through 5, well, that should gradually increase responsibility while maintaining connection. Daily check-ins, clear feedback, consistent reinforcement of your core values. If you're a small business, your first 5 days may be a simple checklist you follow yourself or you hand it to your lead assistant. If you're a larger business, you create a formal onboarding sequence. We have here for every new hire, we've listed out all the things that they might need to know, and they carry that list with them. So hopefully a team member can go through it with them. But if not, we know how the day goes. They still feel supported. They still know where everything is. Either way, the goal is the same. By the end of day 5, your 2 new team members should feel like they belong. They understand what good looks like, and they're supported by a team who wants them to succeed. The single most powerful question you can ask a new hire at the end of the day is this. On a scale of 1 to 10, how confident do you feel right now that you made the right decision in joining our team? How confident? If they say anything below an 8, you've got work to do. And the fact that you ask shows them that you care about their experience, not just their productivity. Action step number 2, I want you to schedule 3 retention checkpoints in the first 90 days. Set calendar reminders for yourself. I know I do that all the time. I need them. You want to have retention conversations set at day 30, day 60, and day 90. Now, these aren't performance reviews. They're just connection points. You don't even have to have a formal meeting in your office. Just make sure to stop them and check in. What's working well for you? What's been harder than you expected? What would make your experience here even better? These conversations may take 5, 10, 15 minutes each, but they give you real-time feedback on whether someone's planning to stay or they're quietly job hunting. So if you're a smaller program, you might have these conversations during your quick coffee chat. Again, walking down the hall, you see them in the classroom, or maybe you ask them to go to coffee with you. If you're a bigger, larger program, you might train your team, your directors on site, or your lead teachers or lead play specialists to own these touch points and then report back to you on how they went. The key is consistency. Don't skip these just because someone seems fine. The people who seem fine, well, those are often the ones who usually leave because they never felt comfortable bringing up those small frustrations before they became deal breakers. Don't wait until someone gives notice to ask what would have made them stay. By then, they've already emotionally checked out. Retention conversations need to happen proactively, regularly, and with genuine curiosity, not as damage control when you're desperate. This is just the foundation. Again, in our Profit Booster number 2, we walk through the full team culture roadmap, including advanced retention strategies, leadership development, the conflict resolution frameworks. But these 3 retention checkpoints, they're going to help you dramatically increase the likelihood that your best people will stick around long enough to become the leaders your business needs. So let's recap what we just covered. You built your CEO list and your team only list. So that way you can decide to stop doing everything yourself and start empowering your team to own some outcomes. You've defined behavior-based core values. You've created some weekly rhythms that reinforce those values. And you've mapped out the first 5 days and a 90-day retention checkpoint plan that's going to turn your new hires into long-term team members who drive your business forward. Again, we call them revenue-generating team members. This is what it means to lead as a CEO, a confident early childhood operator, instead of being trapped in the never-ending cycle of hiring, training, and losing people. And this is exactly how you start building that time freedom lifestyle where your business serves your life instead of consuming it. Now imagine this. 3 months from now, you walk into your preschool, if you're leading a preschool or maybe your play cafe on a Monday morning, and instead of bracing for drama or another resignation, you're greeted by a team knows exactly what to do, how to do it, how to handle challenges, and where to go when they need support. Your lead team members are running their morning meetings without hovering. Your party coordinator is handling a last-minute inquiry with confidence. And you're actually sitting in your office working on the enrollment strategy you've been putting off for weeks because you finally have the mental space to think strategically instead of reactively. That's what's possible when you professionalize your team culture with clear systems, behavior-based values, and strategic retention opportunities and touch points. This is not just wishful thinking. It's what CEOs do every single day. Now, here are 3 action steps you can take this week to start this transformation. First, get that time on your calendar. Get where you can be quiet, create those only CEO tasks and those team tasks that they can do. This is your first action step of stepping out of that manager mode and leading into your CEO leadership. Be honest about what you're holding on to that could be owned by someone else with the right training. Second, download the core values worksheet that's accompanying today's episode. This tool that we've created is going to walk you through defining 3 to 5 behavior-based values your team can actually follow. Values that tell them what good looks like so that you can focus on the things that you need to be doing. Again, remember, this amazing tool is going to be at kellypeak.com, where you find information about this podcast, episode 163. Third, I want you to choose one daily ritual that you're going to introduce next week. A 2-minute pre-shift, a reset, a quick end of the day appreciation moment, that sticky note you're going to post on the board, whatever it is. Keep it simple and consistent. Culture doesn't shift with big events. It shifts with those daily habits your team can count on. And speaking of taking action, right now we are in the middle of January Jumpstart Week, which is going to be running through the end of the month. During this 5-day intensive, I'm doing deep dive trainings on all 6 profit boosters from the CEO Leadership Profit Engine, including a live Q&A session where you can get your specific team culture questions answered in real time. So if implementing today's strategies feels overwhelming, or you want a clear roadmap for building the team that supports your business instead of draining it, this event is going to help you, and it's going to give you time to ask those specific questions. So be sure to go check it out at kellybeak.com and look for January Jumpstart. I hope you can join us. But if you can't make that, don't forget we have our Shine membership and our Shine mentorship programs where you can dive in and work with us. So if today's episode gave you clarity on how to stop the hiring hamster wheel and start building a team culture that actually retains the best people, I'd love for you to subscribe so you don't miss future episodes. And if you think another early childhood business owner is struggling with constant turnover right now, please share this episode with them. We are building a community of confident early childhood operators together who are rewriting the rules. You started your early childhood business because you wanted to make a difference in the lives of children and families. And you can absolutely do that while building a sustainable, profitable business that doesn't require you to sacrifice your own family in the process. This is not just possible, it's what CEOs do every single day. You've got this, my friend, and I can't wait to see you next week on the next episode of the Early Childhood Business Made Easy podcast. Take care.